Let me tell you something that most financial advisors will never say to your face. It is not the stock market that is keeping you poor. It is not the economy. It is not the year you were born or the family you came from or the opportunities you did not get. It is 5 specific decisions you are making or not making every single day. 5 invisible traps that are so deeply wired into how you think about money that most people go an entire lifetime without ever noticing them. Uh, I have spent more than 70 years watching people build wealth and destroy it. I have watched brilliant people go broke and unremarkable people become extraordinarily rich. And what I found was not what I expected. The people who stayed poor were not less intelligent. They were not less hardworking. They were, almost without exception, making the same 5 mistakes over and over, quietly, invisibly, until the math caught up with them. I call them the wealth killers. And here is the most dangerous part. They do not feel like mistakes when you are making them. They feel like common sense. They feel like normal. They feel like what everyone around you is doing. That is exactly the problem. Today, we are going to name them, dissect them, and give you a way out of each one. Not motivational advice, not a vision board. This is a diagnostic, a scalpel, not a speech. Let us begin. Wealth killer, no. 1, the velocity trap. Here's the first thing I want you to understand about money. It does not care how fast you move. It cares how long you wait. Most people treat personal finance like a sprint. They get a raise and immediately upgrade their car. They get a bonus and immediately take a vacation. They pay off one credit card and immediately open another. The moment money arrives, it leaves. There is no gap between earning and spending. There is no pause. I call this the velocity trap. Money moving fast is money compounding for someone else. Let me explain this with physics, because this is not a metaphor. This is mathematics. Imagine you drop a ball off a cliff. In the first second, it barely moves. In the second, it moves a little faster. By the time it reaches the bottom, it is traveling at a velocity that is almost incomprehensible compared to where it started. That is compound interest. That is your money if you let it sit, if you let it build, if you stop grabbing it out of the air before it can accelerate. Now imagine someone who catches the ball at the end of every second and throws it back to the top. It never falls. It never gains velocity. It never becomes dangerous. That is what lifestyle spending does to compounding. You keep resetting the clock. Charlie Munger, my partner and the sharpest mind I have ever known, said it simply. The first $100,000 is a beach hitch, but you have to do it. I do not care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that did not cost you $1, you do it. He was right. But it goes deeper than that. The velocity trap is not just about spending. It is about psychology. The moment money arrives in your hands, your brain does something extraordinary. It begins to generate reasons, very convincing, very logical sounding reasons why this money needs to be deployed immediately. You owe a cousin, you need new shoes for work, the car is making a noise, the vacation is earned. The brain is not your financial advisor. It is your worst enemy in this game. Here is your assignment for Wealth Killer No. 1. The next time money enters your life, in any amount, do nothing with it for 48 hours. Do not move it. Do not tell anyone about it. Do not make a plan. Just let it sit there. Those 48 hours will teach you more about your relationship with money than any book I could recommend. Like Wealth Killer No. 2, the knowledge penalty. You see, there is a tax that most people pay that never appears on any government form. I call it the knowledge penalty. It works like this. You do not understand an investment, so you stay in cash. You do not understand how a business is valued, so you buy on a tip. You do not understand how interest is calculated, so you carry a balance. You do not understand how taxes work, so you lose 20 to 40% of every dollar you earn before it even reaches your savings. Every gap in your financial knowledge is a fee you pay silently, monthly, for the rest of your life. I have met people who spend more time researching the specifications of a television than understanding the terms of a 30-year mortgage they are about to sign. The television cost $1,200. The mortgage cost them 40 years of labor. And I understand why. The mortgage document is intimidating. The television advertisement is designed to be inviting. But here is the thing. Intimidating things are usually where the money is. Risk, Charlie taught me, comes from not knowing what you are doing. Most people believe that safe means avoiding complexity. In reality, safe means understanding what you own and why you own it. The remedy for the knowledge penalty is not complicated, but it is slow. It requires what I call intellectual compounding. The same way $10 compounds into $20, which compounds into 40 knowledge compounds. A mental model you build today about how bonds work will save you from a mistake 5 years from now. A biography you read about a failed company will keep you from entering a dying industry. 500 pages a day. That is what I read. That is not a brag. That is a prescription. Most people say they do not have time to read 500 pages a day. I say they do not have time not to. Here is your assignment for Wealth Killer No. 2. Identify one area of personal finance you have been avoiding because it feels complicated. Taxes, estate planning, index funds, the mechanics of inflation. Choose one. Find the single best book on that subject, buy it, read the first 50 pages this week. Not because it will make you feel smart, because the knowledge penalty is real and it is compounding against you right now, Wealth Killer No. 3, the identity investment. Now we arrive at the one that is the hardest to hear, because this one is not about money at all. It is about who you think you are. Most people make financial decisions not based on what is optimal, but based on what is consistent with their self-image. They buy the car that says something about them. They live in the neighborhood that sends a message. They wear the watch, eat at the restaurant, take the vacation, not because they can afford it, but because not doing these things would feel like a betrayal of who they believe themselves to be. I call this the identity investment, and it is the most expensive investment most people will ever make. Here is how it works in practice. Imagine two people, same income, same age, same city, same starting point. The first person has built their identity around what they consume, their address, their car, the restaurant they are seen at, their vacation photographs. Every dollar they earn is converted into a signal, a proof of status, a public declaration that they have made it. The second person has built their identity around what they build, what they own, what their capital is doing while they sleep. They live below what they earn. They look to the casual observer like they have not quite made it yet. 20 years later, the second person is the one who has made it. The first person is still converting every dollar they earn into signals for people who frankly do not care. I have lived in the same house in Omaha since 1958. It is a 5-bedroom house I bought for $31,500. It is, by any reasonable measure, a modest home for someone in my position. But people often ask me why I do not move, why I do not upgrade. The honest answer is that I got what I needed from it. The first day I moved in a place to think, a place to be, a place where I was not performing wealth for anyone. It is not a stage. Your home, your car, your clothes, they are not investments. They are expenses wearing investment costumes. The outer scorecard says you need to look the part. The inner scorecard asks a different question. Who are you doing this for? And would you still do it if no one was watching? Here is your assignment for Wealth Killer No. 3. Take a piece of paper. On the left side, write down your 5 largest monthly expenses that are not rent, utilities, or food. On the right side, write down whose opinion of you each one is designed to influence. If the right side has names on it, you have identified your identity investments. You now know where the money is going. The decision of what to do next is yours, Wealth Killer No. 4, the one basket bias. Let me tell you about a mistake that even thoughtful people make. And I say even thoughtful people because this one hides behind a feeling of sophistication. It feels like you know what you are doing. It feels like conviction. It feels like confidence. I call it the one basket bias. It works in two directions, and both deserve careful attention. The first direction is the one most people know, putting everything into one stock, one asset class, one allocation. This is the obvious version. Most people know to be cautious here. The second direction is the one almost nobody talks about, putting everything into one income source. You see, most people are not concentrated in their investments alone. They are concentrated in their ability to generate income. They have one employer, one primary skill, one main way of converting their time into money. And the moment that source changes, a role transition, an industry slowdown, a technology shift, a personal situation, the entire financial setup can feel strained. A diversified portfolio of stocks does not replace your primary income source, and changes in employment tend to have a greater impact on long-term financial progress than ordinary market movements. JAND income diversification is not passive income. I want to be very precise here because this concept is often misunderstood. It does not mean you need to start a business while exhausted from your full-time job. It means recognizing that you rely heavily on a single economic relationship, your employer, and gradually building flexibility around that over time. GEMD, a second skill, a small consulting arrangement, an investment that produces regular returns, a modest rental. These are not shortcuts. They are stabilizers. They are the financial equivalent of carrying an umbrella on a cloudy day. LINEAR investing, there is a principle often called the circle of competence. Stay within what you understand, and inside your circle, you can be focused and confident. Outside your circle, decisions become speculative. The same logic applies to income. Inside your circle of competence, you can build multiple income streams that complement one another. A marketer who also consults, a software engineer who also teaches, a real estate professional who also manages properties. Each stream supports the others. Each one expands the circle rather than stepping outside it. And outside your circle is where people follow trends without understanding them or invest in opportunities they cannot properly evaluate. The most common path to financial difficulty is committing confidently to something you do not fully understand. And here is your assignment for wealth lesson note 4. Draw 2 concentric circles on a piece of paper. In the inner circle, write down everything you know well enough to be compensated for: skills, industries, relationships, knowledge. In the outer ring, write down what you do not fully understand but are currently connected to financially or professionally. Everything in that outer ring represents uncertainty you may not yet have examined closely. Planned your job this week is to reduce that outer ring by one item. Wealth killer, no. 5, the delayed start illusion. And finally, we arrive at the 5th and perhaps the cruelest of the wealth killers, because this one does not feel like a mistake at all. It feels like wisdom. I call it the delayed start illusion. Here is how it sounds in your head. I will start investing when I have more money. I will start saving when I pay off this debt. I will start building when I have a clearer picture of my career. I will start when the market settles down. I will start when the kids are older. I will start when things calm down. There is always a when. And the when is always reasonable. It is always logical sounding. It is always defensible in a conversation. But here is the mathematics that no amount of reasoning can overcome. A 22-year-old who invests $200 a month and stops at 32 has more money at 65 than a 32-year-old who invests the same $200 a month and never stops. Read that again. The person who stopped investing at 32 beats the person who invested continuously from 32 to 65, because those 10 early years from 22 to 32 are so compounding rich that no amount of future contribution can catch them. This is not a motivational statistic. This is arithmetic. The 10 years you are waiting for the right moment, those are the 10 most expensive years of your financial life. Every month you delay is not a month of missed growth. It is a month of compounding that will never come back because the compounding that comes from that month would have itself compounded for every subsequent year. And what the objection is, I did not have $200 a month when I was 22. I had student loans, I had rent, I had a life that needed to be lived. I hear you. And I am not asking you to live without. I am asking you to begin with whatever number does not feel like it matters, with $50, with $25, with an automatic transfer that you genuinely forget is happening. The dollar amount when you begin is almost irrelevant. What matters is that the habit of beginning is installed, because a person who begins with $25 a month at 22 is not the same person as one who begins with $500 a month at 35. The first person has built a different relationship with money. They have demonstrated to themselves in practice, not theory, that they are someone who invests. That identity is compounding too. The second person is still waiting for the right time. The right time is always, without exception, earlier than now. Here is your assignment for Wealth Killer number 5. Open a brokerage account today, not this week, not after you read one more article about index funds. Today, fund it with whatever amount will not prevent you from paying rent, even if it is $30, even if it is $10, then make it automatic. Set it to repeat monthly, and do not look at it for a year. You have started. That is the whole game. Let us come back to where we began. Most people are not poor because of bad luck or bad circumstances. They are poor because of 5 invisible patterns that they have never examined closely enough to name. Think closely enough. The velocity trap. Money moving too fast to compound. The solution is the pause. The 48-hour rule before any money moves. The knowledge penalty. Gaps in financial literacy that charge you silently every month. The solution is the reading habit. One subject, one book, 50 pages a week. The identity investment. Spending money to maintain a self-image rather than a financial position. The solution is the inner scorecard. Ask who you are doing it for before you spend. The one basket bias. Over-concentration in a single income source. The solution is the circle of competence extended. Find the second stream inside the circle, not outside it. The delayed start illusion. The logical sounding argument for beginning later. The solution is the immediate small beginning. The account open today, the automatic transfer set tonight. 5 traps, 5 exits. None of them require a genius. None of them require an inheritance. None of them require a market prediction or a hot tip or a brilliant idea. They require only a decision. And here is what I want to leave you with. I have sat in a rocking chair in my mind many times over the years and looked back at my life from 80, from 90. I have asked myself the simple question that a friend once taught me: what do you regret? And the answer was never the things I did. It was the things I delayed. The decisions I had every reason to make and every piece of information to make them correctly. And I simply waited for the right time, for more certainty, for the noise to stop. The noise never stops. The right time never arrives on its own. The door to the cage is open. It has always been open. You do not need permission to walk through it. You need only to stop waiting for someone to carry you. Now go down to the comments section. Write down which of the 5 wealth killers you recognize most in your own life. Write it publicly. Make a contract not with me, but with your future self. Come back to this video in 6 months and reply, I changed it. That is all. Thanks for watching.